Anjir wajahmu anjir. Oh ya, salah. Udah kak. Udah kangen nih. Anjay. Ini dia. Oh ya, ini dia apa? Oh, udah ale DRST.
Welcome back to the Formula One World Championship in 2025. Today we resume the battle for the title at Zandvoort. On the banks of the North Sea, it's McLaren versus McLaren as Piastri leads Norris by 9 points in the race to become Formula One World Champion. This is the circuit. It's 4.2 kilometers, 2.6 miles. It's undulating. It is a wraparound across a short distance. It gives us our second highest lap count of the year. And there's the elevation, only 8.7 meters, but it's up and down and bank corners at 2 occasions of the circuit. Tarzan corner is where we head and show you the tyres, the soft, the medium and the hard, the C4, the C3 and the C2. We are one step softer this year with the compounds as Pirelli seek to push the teams on the grid into a two-stop strategy. Well, the weather at the moment is dry. It is 29 degrees track temperature. There is a 60% chance of rain. Here's the grid for the 15th Grand Prix of the year. In the pit lane, Oliver Bearman, after changing the specification of his Haas. Lance Stroll crashed at turn 13, lines up in 19th position. Esteban Ocon finds himself in 18th next to Nico Hulkenberg. A good record around here when he raced here in the junior categories, picking up his first points today in F1 around this circuit. Then it is Franco Colapinto, who is next to a frustrated Alex Albon. Couldn't get the tyres switched on in qualifying. Then it's Gasly and Bortoletto. Yuki Tsunoda is in 12th position for Red Bull. He is next to Kimi Antonelli. Fernando Alonso back there once again. Said it felt like a mini win on the driver's parade. Carlos Sainz knew the chance of fighting for major positions when the track temperature went up yesterday. Liam Lawson is the first of 2 racing balls in the top 10. Lewis Hamilton going from P7
tiba-tiba siswa kaget juga aku.
George Russell
aku juga kaget. Anjir siswa gitu cok. Tapi emang mandirinya mandiri kita sih mahal gitu mbak. Minimal ya. Intinya tuh 75 juta anjing.
Ya memang segitu.
Makanya aku kayak anjing.
Makanya nggak ambil, adekku nggak ambil mandiri TS kalau misalnya nggak lolos.
Makanya aku ambilnya antara OPS,
Here we go again then. Formula One returns and we are ready for racing in a few minutes time in the commentary box. I'm Alex Strix alongside David Coulthard and Julian Palmer as we resume this battle. And let's have a word DC for that man, Isaac Hadjar, stepping forward at the start of the second half of the season.
Sorry ya.
That qualifying lap, putting himself amongst some very experienced racers. Well, we're going to find out whether he come over and he gets stuck in amongst it, or whether he'll just try and consolidate.
Tapi
brilliant quality. But we were joking yesterday, weren't we?
Tapi apa Jir? Lupa aku.
Risk if he keeps these performances up of getting promoted to the main team, and it could all be over in a year. It hasn't worked out well for many other teams.
It has not. That Racing Bulls car is not the outright fastest, but it does have great balance, especially for a rookie driver trying to forge a path in Formula One. That's what they're all competing for, the main trophy. Julian, our top 2 contenders.
Kenapa sih ekonomi apa? Islam.
They're all big at this stage. 10 races to go, 9 points the difference.
Ekonomi syariah lah.
Ekonomi syariah, iya. Bedanya apa coy? Sama ekonomi biasa, lebih halal.
Lebih adil biar ini ya, lebih adil. Kalau konvensional kan kayak ini kan, kayak lebih menguntungkan diri sendiri. Konvensional, dan itu kayak ya udahlah, banyak ribanya juga. Gitu loh. Kan kalau ekonomi syariah kan itu kan emang ngikutin arahan Islam, sistemnya Islam gitu loh. Secara adil pokoknya 50-50. Kalau misalnya kamu rugi itu nggak langsung ruginya lebih dari 50%. Jadi kalau misalnya rugi untuk itu 50-50 kayak gitu loh. Emang keadilan keseimbangan gue jadi nih. Terus kalau misalnya terus kalau apa namanya ekonomi Islam itu untuk kayak untuk profesi itu juga bisa luas sebenarnya, jadi nggak harus yang harus bank Indonesia gitu loh. Bank Indonesia, bank syariah, jadi kamu bisa masuk bank Indonesia sebenarnya. Kamu ya, dan untuk aku sendiri aku emang nggak berminat ke bank syariahnya kan, aku lebih kayak pengen kerja yang nggak menganut syariah gitu. Tapi kalau misalnya untuk ditanamkan di Indonesia ya udah, ini aku tahu lah tentang ekonomi Islam gitu. Cuma kalau untuk kerja kayak orang untuk bank sih, mungkin ke emang industri gitu yang membutuhkan. Soalnya kan di ekonomi Islam juga diajarin banyak kayak loh, kayak manajemen iya, akuntansi iya, semua diajarin dari beberapa. Jadi kita ya bisa belajar semuanya, manajemennya dapat gitu. Katanya begitu.
Katanya gitu. Tapi nyatanya
cuma itu nah itu belum kurasakan. Cuma aku tuh cuma bencinya itu kayak apa ya, kalau misalnya tuh dikit-dikit itu bawa agama anjir, nggak suka.
Iya lah, memang iya lah, mau gimana
ya. Itu kayak dikit-dikit ini loh, kayak orang Indonesia coba dikit-dikit bisa kekuatkan agama tuh. Kayak misalnya seperti banking akhirat, kita tidak perlu kaya, kita harus berarti ya saya ingin itu gimana kayak anjir. Siapa juga kayak gak terlalu suka sama apa ya, kenapa ya kok aku rasanya kayak malu gitu aja kalau misalnya tuh aku gak bangga sama sekali anjir.
Anjir, masa gitu banget sih? Mungkin kamu terlalu jenuh kali.
Iya. Soalnya aku emang bukan yang aku mau kan, cuma ini kayak yang paling realistis gitu loh rasanya, dan pasti itu juga lebih rendah gitu. Bismillah, gue rada malas.
Well, the top two contenders in the World Championship find themselves in order. Piastri ahead of Lando Norris. The
jangan nge-like, Jack. Jangan nge-like.
Max Verstappen, the home favorite and reigning world champion, who goes from third.
Udah mau mulai nih, jangan nge-like dulu.
Mulai is the car in the pit lane. One car in the pit lane, 19 on the grid. Green flag at the back. The show resumes in 5 lights time. The Dutch Grand Prix is underway. Oscar Piastri is looking across and his teammate picked up to the cross. Piastri holds the lead. Max Verstappen around the outside of one McLaren. It won't be two. Piastri has given the job. Lando Norris to fight back to second place, or does it? Verstappen went all in to take P2. That is what hunger looks like. He was not going to give up.
Astaga.
Turn 7, high speed stop all the time. Can Norris get back that place?
Aku mendukung yang tidak mendominasi. Bener tuh kalau mau asik-asikan nonton gitu coy. Jadi yang didukung yang nggak jago. Gitu.
Itu sih hijau belakang tadi loh. Dua hijau belakang yang siapa ini?
Tim Gojek itu.
Iya, tim Gojek ini. Lu nggak boleh belakang untuk memalukan sekali. Nah itu loh. Ini kayak didukung gue. Tapi kayak kenapa ya? Bukannya kayak semua mesinnya sama ya?
Ya memang semua mesinnya sama sih harusnya. Enggak coy, beda-beda. Cuman regulasinya cuman minimal maksimal ada gitu. Cuman kan apakah mesinnya itu mampu untuk memaksimalkan itu? Gitu aja sih. Pertama itu kedua aeronya beda-beda.
Gitu. Kenapa kok yang tim-tim lain tidak meniru kayak punyanya si McLaren ini atau enggak si Red Bull gitu aeronya?
Karena duitnya kurang.
Oh iya. Pendanaan nih loh.
Iya, masalah cuan ini.
Itu masih paling bawah itu B cukai anjir. Warna merah itu. Ya ampun. Itu kan anjir. Pia nomor 1 anjir menang dia.
Ya Strix ya.
Itu nomor 3 loh Norris.
Ya Norris. Udah, ini tinggal gini aja menang ini nanti.
Iya, paling McLaren yang menang sih. Kecuali kan McLaren itu juga oleh ngantuk gitu nabrak.
Susah sih.
It is worth 9/10 of a second
Memang
around this
race yang membosankan
banget sama kelompokku anjir.
Kenapa? Tukang AFK-nya banyak.
Dikit karena kan kelompok kita ada 15, 10-nya itu cewek, 5-nya cowok. Apa-apa arahinnya ke cowok.
15? Kelompok apa ini?
Kelompok osjur.
Walah, ospek.
Makanya aku ngomongin osjur aja.
Kalau ospek mau biarin aja coy, nggak usah terlalu serius. Evan aja.
Sekali hukum kena kafe itu. Malasnya ngono. Kemarin yang kamu tahu deh, kamu udah lihat videoku kan yang di IG. Itu ideku kafe itu, spontanku itu. Soalnya sing lain itu gini. Aku yang videonya. Yes, ngono itu.
Exactly. If that comes, the soft size genius isn't
Saya
it? Use the grip
ke
of the
aku,
turn when it goes away.
jauh
Everyone
tak
will be
atur,
anyway.
cok. Kon ini kon ngono, wes manuto.
Ya gimana ya? Ya seperti itulah kira-kira. Kadang emang beberapa jurusan nggak mau nyalain jurusan juga sih. Tergantung isiannya coy.
Jurusan gue yang ini cok, yang cakep cuma satu ya menurutku. Gue cinta kirim.
Yang itu tadi ya.
Iya, mereka. Tapi kayak ini loh sebagai penyemangat kita pengantar akuntansi.
Penyemangat. Ya udahlah gas lah.
Enggak gitu tuh. Kalau gitu cukup seorang aja. Aku selalu sudah.
Maksudnya kan setidaknya dekat gitu loh. Terserah jadi teman level 1, teman level 2, terserah.
Rasanya jadi salah gitu rasanya. Gak bisa loh anjir. Kayak padahal belum ada hubungan kayak video itu salah ya. Aku merasa gitu. Oke deh, rada sulit anjir.
We go back to the start of the Grand Prix. Big moment with Piastri chopping across Lando Norris and Verstappen sending it around the outside.
It tells you something about his mentality. He wasn't going, okay, I'm happy that I got one place. He was instinctively thinking, I'm going to take it round the outside.
Kan berarti masih ospek.
Ini lagi ono kelompok kan ono 5.
Kon lah online sih? Enggak lah. Kon nggak online kan?
Kemarin itu sospek tuh. Akhirnya
Online kan gara-gara demo tuh.
Emang pusat kan cok uner itu jembut. Awalnya gue pengen di offline-in cok. Pengen push rank anjing sumpah. Pengen push rank aja unernya aja. Sumpah.
Gue sering apa? Gue sering apa maksud
buat ini tuh jadi kan bener itu Uner itu mulai kuliah itu dilean gitu loh cok gak dalam barengan sampai sing dia
iya setuju
terus masalah-masalah ini Uner itu paling beda-beda gitu loh cara-cara dia unik kan cok kadang-kadang langsung mendadak cuma ini
tapi kataku memang Uner dari zaman kumaba memang gitu memang ya jadwalnya memang start duluan kita yang menurutku terlalu lama tiduran dia tidur lama
kalau libur harusnya sama semua kan kayak ini ya kayak Unir ini bakal libur duluan terus yang lainnya masih kuliah terus yang pas yang udah kuliah itu libur
iya memang gitu sih
itu saja rada bahaya sih kayak rada anjing gitu ya apa ya rada iri apa udah rasanya aduh TS cowok ini TS cowok terus aku cok yang bener itu sebab kayak gak bahagia kecuali aku ketemu ini cok kelompok kesatria aku cok hampir tahu itu asik
ya kalau biasanya memang gitu lintas jurusan lintas fakultas emang unik-unik orang-orangnya itu dan kayak ya namanya temen pertama kali yang di kampus kan ya gak sih ya memang gitu begitu makin kecil ospeknya makin ospek fakultas makin kecil lagi ospek jurusan makin jenuh rasanya lu lagi gitu iya sama adikku juga gitu itu memang ada euforianya lah itu di situ teman pertama coy rasanya kayak paham lah ya
and it wasn't the best call, but you always have these things in your mind as a driver. Do you have to pit for inters? Because when it inevitably dries up, you're having to do 2 pit stops at that point to get back to the slicks.
Let's go back to Gabriel Bortoleto. This is his onboard view of the incident that has been noted by race control.
I actually thought it was a pretty tasty move from Stroll around the outside there. That's the damage to the front wing end plate for Bortoleto. That's got to be okay, isn't it? Play on. I think Bortoleto trying to keep in there, but Stroll didn't do anything wrong. Took the place. It's just difficult around here. It's narrow and that sort of thing happens.
Yeah, 2 drivers clear sight of each other, so neither can blame.
Sungguh apa ini? Misalnya ini
detaches itself. You can see the wire coming out of the carbon fiber, which is leading to the thermal camera that the surface temperature of the tire.
And Norris has got within 1 second of Max Verstappen. He's 0.7 of a second away. That soft tire will be degrading. It will be losing performance.
Tapi kan ngikuti basket kan tapi kayak setidaknya ada satu sport yang kamu update nggak sih?
E-sport aku.
Ya kan, ya kan tetap termasuk sport, coy. Kalau menurutku e-sport itu masuk sport. Intinya enggak terlalu udet gitu loh terhadap sport yang terjadi di dunia. Menurutku gitu sih. Setidaknya ada satu bidang yang kita jago atau tahu lah. Bentar ya mas. Iya, apa bahasa santai aja. Kamu live zoom dulu terus nanti balik lagi juga masalah.
Push, give myself as much wriggle room because the rain might come just as he passes the pit lane. So as we can see, Max has
disalip coy.
Around the outside, trying the move, pulling the move off that he needed if he was going to be a contender to win this Grand Prix. Lando Norris at the first time.
Wah.
I haven't seen Max pass around the outside too many times in my life, so very, very good commitment there from Lando. The corner's slightly banked, and it does allow you the chance to do that. And
Tadaku sih ininya coy.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant there from Lando.
Itunya gacor banget.
Respect there as well. That were they are buddies. Normally that only shines off track rather than on track, but there was an acceptance, I believe.
Nice job. Let's go get Oscar.
That's a message from Will Joseph to his charger in the championship. 4.5 seconds is the gap, though. That is the task for Lando Norris. Were they buddies on lap 1?
No. That was full red mist.
Let's see it again. Lando Norris needed this move, and crucially, think back to Miami. He needed lap after lap after lap, couldn't get it done this time. Use the grip, go the long way round, and the banking, and get through.
Yeah, there's almost like a quick acceleration, so he doesn't do a huge amount on the brakes, but then releases the brakes and gets fully alongside Max. And once he's done that, Max can no longer run him out of the road on the exit. So not a massive lunge on the brakes, but then just turned it in with commitment afterwards and planted himself on the outside to make the move. I do think Max probably knew that that was going to be coming in the long haul anyway.
Udah ya, kalau udah McLaren di depan ya wes, udah lewat coy. Apa yang perlu di enjoy lagi?
And we'll see whether Max Verstappen does fall off the old cliff that they used to reference. Pirelli did say the soft.
Gitu, halo Pak, halo Abian. Sorry banget baru bisa baca, tadi banyak diskusi kita.
Interesting to see what Antonelli's able to do. He looks quicker than Tsunoda. Both of them at this stage of the year probably feeling mentally.
Besok nang Gubeng pagi aman lah. Harusnya aman ya. Pagi kan? Pagi jam 10 gitu. Aman sih. Aman.
There's been some moments where it hasn't quite worked for him. So what I'm basically leading to is to say that I wouldn't expect to see a really feisty dive from Antonelli because the risk versus return.
Coba dilihat dulu ya kabar hari ini. Kalau misalnya nanti sampai jam 12 sepi aja Surabayanya, aman berarti besok.
Track temperature has dropped slightly since the start of the Grand Prix. It's at 27 degrees now at the moment.
Norris does the fastest lap. As soon as he's clear, pumps one in, 4 tenths quicker than Piastri. So the gap that was 4.5 is now 4.1. And Lando has looked just a little bit quicker than Oscar through this weekend. It didn't materialize in qualifying, 12 thousandths was the difference.
Ini bener daring ya berarti sampai tanggal 4. Harusnya ya, karena semua kompak sih. Ada beberapa yang bikin pengumuman gitu kan. Gara-gara dampak demo itu. Jadi ya iya. Tapi belum sih, kan kita disuruh nunggu ketuanya bilang nih, si Mas Arkan ini bilang apa woro-woro di grup. Nah ini sampai sekarang belum ada woro-woro dari Mas Arkan. Belum ada penyampaian pesan dari Mas Arkan. Jadi aku juga ragu.
Because the gap is now 3.5 seconds, losing a lot of time as Norris tries to take the fight to Oscar Piastri. The gap is 4 seconds across the line.
And the problem for Max is he's actually now falling back in towards the battle behind as well. On the last lap, Hadjar was just fractionally quicker than Verstappen, but he's on the soft tire, so if the race doesn't come, then they're going to start making a pit stop. And it's a long way to go. This was the
perlu libur.
Yeah, and then it's about where is the gap. If he was to pit, then he would come out behind Verstappen, actually no, a bit further back, come out behind Gasly, maybe even Hülkenberg. So that's the sort of issue he has right now, about 18 seconds total time loss coming in for a pit stop.
Hadjar acquitting himself nicely, running consistently in his highest running position over Grand Prix. His career best yesterday was 5th on the grid for his first Monaco Grand Prix. And any time you put it in the top 4 in Formula 1 qualifying is impressive, especially if you do so in your rookie season. And the 20-year-old, originally from Paris, finds himself leading Charles Leclerc at the moment.
I'm a bit scared about water letters going. It's nothing. Copy.
Man from the pit lane appeals to the umpire that they might need a black and orange flag. If you get that in Formula 1, you have to pit and repair the damage.
Yeah, well, flapping wings, I guess we know exactly, as you just said there, what he's doing with that information. He's just got to find an old-fashioned pass.
Those two know each other well, having raced against each other through different stages of the junior ladder. And a man who loved it around here in the junior ladder is Kimi Antonelli, 2 times a race winner around here, both in Formula Regional and Formula 4. He took the title a couple of years ago around here, which shows you how quickly his elevation to Formula 1 has been.
Always amazes me when you see the damage on Bortoletto's car and Behrman appealing to the umpire. You think, well, just go round him. He's got front wing damage. All these sensitive parts of the car and the front wing's hanging off. Surely you can clear him. Bortoletto's still going fine. He's in the group. It was the the same for Leclerc in China. The amount of fine-tuning, front-wing angle tweaks that goes on, and then you rip off part of the carbon fiber front wing, and they're still going fine.
I think the end plate is actually one of those sort of not common part in that they manufacture their own, but it's designated in its shape. They can put their own little flicks on it, but it's kind of there whether you want it or not at that size. Clearly doesn't do a great deal.
No, we've seen it time and time again. I did enjoy our journey to Jolyon Palmer's sympathy corner there, as much as I would expect from a team radio message. We're on lap 14 of 72. The gap is now 3.6 seconds between the McLaren pair. Remember, the threat of light rain continues, but it's not manifested itself on lap 10 like the original forecast suggested.
Yeah, still waiting for it to come. So Norris has now taken a second out of Piastri. He's done it by just chipping away. The first one was 0.3, and then it's been a couple of tenths on the subsequent laps. It comes down to 3.4 in the first sector as well, as Lando's lighting up the timing screens again. His medium tyre's not going away, and he's really narrowing down this gap. Every lap it's coming down, a couple of tenths, 1/10, just piling the pressure now on Piastri.
It's going to be Lance Stroll, and is that the end of the end plate? Yeah, it is on the racing line, and Stroll had come in for a stop. He'd got rid of the medium tyres and taken on the hard, which is why he was behind the driver that he'd passed on the second lap of the Grand Prix, and he was running over that debris.
If I didn't know better, it was almost like he ran over it in an attempt to damage his tyre or something. You see debris on the track, Julian. It's there. You see everything on the racetrack. It was. I'm actually surprised he's hit that debris.
I can only assume he didn't see it, because surely he's not deliberately taking a chunk of carbon fibre underneath his car. He's put on a nice move on Bortoletto, and that was the cause of the debris, wasn't it, in the first place? I mean, there's a lot going on behind the wheel. Maybe he's looking at the steering wheel, or on the radio he's slightly distracted. He's on his own, out the back, so...
And so you were saying that Julian's not sympathetic towards drivers.
On my
I couldn't fathom the alternative, DC, that he's just chosen to go and damage his car.
But what was interesting, actually, as we stayed with that shot, how close he was on the white line into the grass, which was the very corner that he'd dropped the car in qualifying.
Yeah, and that really compromised his entire chance of points this weekend. He needs it to rain. It's as simple as that. And Oscar Piastri was reporting light drops of rain on his visor last time around. He's the race leader by 3.1 seconds.
I think we've got a race on our hands, rain or shine. On the last lap, Norris was 0.4 quicker than Piastri again. The gap's 3 seconds and closing more and more. There's a long old way to go in this one. I thought that buffer at the start might prove critical.
I have this feeling that the sort of papaya rules, and that's when Bortoletto's end plate decided it had enough. I feel that the papaya rules very much lead to, and then we can see Lando as well picked up. Now that was a smaller part, so I think that's after.
Yeah,
absolutely has gone over it. But I think the McLarens are racing to the first pit stop effectively, and then papaya rules comes in. Something unusual happens.
Piastri Norris Verstappen.
On the exit of turn 3.
Coba top 3-nya pasti itu. Kalau Hajar,
I see a solitary jacket going up in the grandstand.
bisa top 3. Kalau misalnya bertiga itu ada gak jelas strateginya, atau Verstappen pitnya telat, bisa itu Hajar.
So we're just for a moment, all three of us looking out the window rather than the pictures that you're seeing, just to see whether it rolls in. The main straight where we are, where we're talking to you from, is the part of the circuit closest to the beach, to the North Sea. And it comes in so quickly. We saw that in 2023. It's like the weather pattern around here is on fast forward, and the rain is beginning to fall. Remember, if you don't get the timing right here, and we see rainfall to the same intensity that we did earlier in the weekend, it can cost you up to 20 seconds and completely upend the Dutch Grand Prix.
We've seen strategy make such a big difference between the two McLarens already. When
it
rains now, I mean, this could be critical. And how do McLaren deal with this? Two drivers racing only against each other. They've already ditched Max Verstappen. He's nearly 10 seconds back now in third. I guess you've got to leave it up to race engineer and driver to call it.
Yeah, well, look, driver ultimately can make that call, I'm coming in. But I think if we're in that situation, it will apply to both.
Antonelli
Antonelli getting close. And both Red Bulls are seeing their tyres disappear from underneath them. Verstappen now 12 seconds off the back of Lando Norris. That tyre is fading fast. They've got to stay out on it because the conditions, well, they could change at any moment. And Antonelli trying to find a way back. You can see more drops of rain on the camera lens then. More people in the grandstands opposite us are looking for the rain jackets, are looking for the ponchos. And the track temperature is dropping down again. It's very nearly to 26 degrees, always an indication when the wind picks up and the temperature drops, the rain is coming. The gap out between the two McLarens and the contenders for the Drivers' World Championship are currently separated by 3 seconds. This is an opportunity for anyone who's having a tough weekend to try and repair the damage. They can just take the gamble when it comes to the tyres at the moment, and we can see big swings if you time that tyre stop to intermediates at the right time.
Yeah, Red Bulls need that rain to come down more heavily and then to cover off the fact that they're now in a whole world of pain. And if it does, then McLaren have no choice but to stack the cars. And that, of course, affects, when they're that close together, it affects the second running car. If Norris was further back, it would almost be a seamless scenario.
Antonelli cannot get past the soft runner. Further back, that's not the case. Gasly has retaken the position that he lost to Colapinto. And Bortoleto has been noted by race control for driving in an unsafe condition. It's something they'll speak about afterwards, potentially, after the car saw the end plate deposited onto the racing line. Let's go on board with Lando Norris, who has had the form around this circuit in the past. He was the winner here last year. He passed Max Verstappen on lap 18 for the lead, and then the win by over 20 seconds, which is a huge margin in modern Formula One. And he is whittling away at the advantage, having to be aware of the possible changing conditions all the time. So this gives you a great idea of a superb circuit.
Yeah, you can see the last few laps actually, the flow has just been stifled. The gain that Norris was making is no longer. 3.2 seconds the gap, as Oscar actually took 10.5 back on Lando. So the first charge looked promising. Now Oscar's just able to stay closer to his best lap, as Lando's just dropping away slightly more.
Hamilton's starting to put a bit of pressure on Russell. Just under a second, that gap there. Russell's dropped back from the battle ahead with Leclerc and Hadjar.
Well, Hadjar's still fourth. Let's not forget that either. He's not miles away from Verstappen in third. So this is going tremendously for Isaac Hadjar. And those guys, of course, will be hoping no rain. Let's just do one stop and get on with it.
Fernando Alonso not hanging around, hoping for intermediate tyres. He has gone to the hards. He will go no further. Aston are a team gambling that the degradation is more than anyone expects out there today. They've prepared their entire weekend on the basis that everyone's going to try and make the one-stop work, but the degradation might just be too high. And he was underlining that on the driver's parade earlier on. More cameras, more drops of rain. It's got to be significant, though, in order for the teams to change tyres.
And I know how the tyres, how's the pace? Yeah, it's starting to struggle a little bit more now with the rears.
I think that's reflected, as you said, Julian, they're just nip and tuck on times now. 15.487, call it a 15.5, and a 15.5 from Norris.
Maybe feeling the pain of having to pass Max at the start of the race, having to run in the dirty air for the first few laps, and now.
And once again, we're seeing hard tyres rather than anything for the weather. In comes Yuki Tsunoda. Finally, Antonelli is released up to 11th position. He takes on a more durable compound, having started on the soft. It does appear that the rain might be getting a little bit heavier at turn 1, and they are standing up in the crowd outside. They're reaching for the ponchos, they're reaching for the rain jackets. The rain is intensifying outside our commentary box window.
It's really interesting, isn't it, that they've all chosen to come in. They felt there was nothing left in the tyre, but we can clearly see the rain coming down. Is it going to be enough to go to intermediates?
I think that was a soft rain from Andrea Stella there.
Yeah. I thought he was tickling the ivories.
Well, the grades are some drops and drizzle is grade 1, light rain is 2, moderate rain or shower is 3, and heavy rain or thunderstorm is 4 when they talk in those grades on the radio.
A pitter-patter.
Very good.
I don't know what the Italian translation is for it, but I'm sure that's what was being relayed there from Andrea.
Very technical.
Can you get closer to the car ahead? I can give you a touch.
Right, it's crucial now And any time the rain intensifies and they're all on slick tyres, it is a real test of instinct and skill and feel behind the wheel. We saw that at Silverstone dramatically earlier this year for the British Grand Prix. We saw again in Belgium how the drivers had to adapt to the different conditions. How strong Lewis Hamilton was coming through in the field across that weekend. And talking of the 7-time world champion, you've got Hadjar ahead of Leclerc, and then you've got Russell falling back into the clutches of his old teammate. Hamilton, who went into the summer break after a really tough run, was happy to just get to Q3 yesterday. He said he tried a different approach entirely to this weekend, and the key word was he was enjoying it more. It had been a really tough run, not being able to compete, even get to the top 10 shootout the previous 2 Grand Prix rounds.
Yeah, another example that you race where you qualify. So if you have that bad qualifying, even though you might be in a superior car as displayed by your teammate, it's very difficult to sort of get out of that traffic, that dirty air. And Grand Prix cars love nice clean airflow at the first point of contact across the front wing.
Piccietto, apparently, is the Italian for pitter patter.
I knew he'd be trying to figure that out.
He wouldn't be able to leave it alone. I've gone to the back catalogue there and it's taken me a couple of laps.
Yeah, see, doing that Italian GSE, or whatever you call it, in down south has definitely played its part. It would have been terrible if we were having a conversation with an Italian.
I've got 2 words: ciao and piccietto.
Definitely have to undercut these guys. It's hard to get closer.
Out on it.
They're snaking around coming out of turn 10. That is the corner where the drivers are susceptible to the wind. And you've seen the cars moving around all weekend at that corner. Hamilton all over the road. Is the grip getting less and less? Still, we see them with rain in the air, clear, light rain in the air, continuing on the slick tyres. The gap is static out front at 3.4 seconds. Verstappen just trying to continue out there. He's got the racing ball behind. Charles Leclerc comes for new rubber in the pit lane.
Yeah, it is just that light rain. It's still falling, but it's not enough now. And I think the teams are getting more confidence that it's going to pass without significantly dampening the track. So in comes Leclerc. He's going to come out into a bit of traffic. Is he going to stay just clear of Kimi Antonelli? That'll be tight.
Yellow flag is out. Lewis Hamilton is off the road and out of the race. Coming out of turn 3, the light rain falling, and the 7-time world champion has found the barriers and is out to bring out the safety car.
Yeah, this throws open an opportunity now for Max. Where is he on track? Halfway around the lap.
So this is the stop for everyone now. Leclerc could well lose out from this, should lose out from this, as he's got to go at a reduced speed.
Lando Norris is going to have to back off a bit as well. If they double stack, you have to wait about 5 seconds in between cars.
He's got so much margin behind though, and it's a full safety car. So when this gets restarted, he will be right with Oscar. But it kind of neutralises the strategy unless we have more rain. Hard tyres for Piastri, it will be the same for Norris.
McLaren go to work. And slow pull away there. They were dragging the jack away, but it had the front wing attached. They got away with that one. 4.5 seconds the gap, and everyone now coming into the pit lane. The rain is light, but Hamilton hitting the wall, and he is out of the Dutch Grand Prix. Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Hadjar, now Russell, Lawson, Sainz, Albon, Leclerc, and Antonelli, the top 10.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it, that as you mentioned there, Leclerc comes out with fresh tyres straight into that safety car, so you get the double frustration of it being sort of friendly fire, isn't it? Your own team causing, or your own teammate causing a loss.
So it is a cheaper pit stop under these conditions. Instead of losing 23 seconds, you only lose 17. Everyone concluding their opening stints. And let's have another look at the moment that brought out the safety car. Hamilton heading to turn 3 with the light rain falling.
Yeah, you can see on the camera, it's through the right well. Oh, that's so frustrating. It was so late in the corner as the load had built. Gets out wide, corrects, and then just ran out of road.
It's just on the painted surface, isn't it?
Yeah, so sorry guys.
Hamilton apologising to his team. He wasn't wide by much, but he was on to that painted sponsor on the tarmac. This is Oscar Piastri. He was followed in by his teammate Lando Norris. Gives Lando Norris fewer cards to play, and that was dragging away the front wing, and the car still attached.
Yeah, the least pressure pit stop they'll have from 1-2 this year, though. Plenty of time back. Hamilton helmet on. It's a driver error, but when there is drops of rain coming, sometimes you do find that the painted surfaces become more slippery first, and round that turn 3 it is obviously raised up, and the drivers use that outside line, and it's a strange place to just have such a big oversteer.
It's different paint, isn't it? The white lines are a grippier paint.
Is he alright?
Bro, apa yang terjadi, bro? Safety car tiba-tiba. Hamilton.
In that case, can you tell him how disappointed I am?
Former McLaren driver David Coulthard giving us the true insight to what he'd be thinking. Lando Norris checking in on his pit crew. And it's still, well, it's 80 kilometers per hour that they come in from, so it's still a risky job at any stage. That pit stop behind the safety car means that Piastri has his lead eroded, but you can't go longer or shorter now if you're Lando Norris.
Leclerc lost out there to George Russell in the pits, so that's the cost for
Wah,
Ferrari.
Hamilton
in the wall, Leclerc losing the place to Russell. He had followed Hadjar and was trying to undercut Hadjar. But as you say, DC, the double whammy of the safety car timing there just really hurt the sole remaining Ferrari. So that's just an extra painful one.
So Verstappen went to the medium tyre. Again, he's fancying the softer end of the compounds today. And that might be easier to fire up in these slightly lower temperatures. Track temperature has fallen to 25 now.
It's got a long way to go on that. Bearing in mind we heard Lando saying he was feeling the rears going away. The times were falling away for both McLarens.
Well, this rain has come in at the start of the day. They didn't expect it. Then they expected it to hit on lap 40 if we got it at all. It came far earlier than that. And maybe he's just gambling on everyone's going to have another intervention from the weather anyway, which the medium tyres seem to suggest. Driver in third. Hadjar remains in fourth. And that timing just working against Charles Leclerc. George Russell getting the benefit of losing less time under the safety car and jumping for fifth.
The Hamilton one, it is a strange one though. I mean, the painted surface, the drizzle. But when you think the drizzle and Lewis Hamilton, you think this is the time where he's going to charge through the field and start making progress historically. But he does just seem just not comfortable in the car and the environment he's in at the moment.
Yeah. Yes, it looks like exactly that. He went wide of the white line onto the green, slippery at the wall.
Yeah, but then you should tell me earlier. Like this is a race ending bit of information, so you should tell me earlier.
Okay, so getting sort of double radio play in my ear there, but that's Lando asking for what happened to Hamilton. They've explained, and then he's giving them, please give me all the information I need to know if people are going off. And Jolien, you raised the uncomfortable conversation about Lewis's season, and that's normally the sort of environment that he would thrive. And it was so late in the corner that he's run out of road and grip that makes it doubly frustrating to watch.
Lewis Hamilton finding himself with the exact opposite than the season he expected at Ferrari. It was a blockbuster move that was announced at the start of the previous campaign. Won the first sprint race of the year in Shanghai, and it looked like he got off to the best possible start. Sprint pole, sprint victory in Shanghai, but since then he has not been on a Grand Prix podium.
Yeah, good information though for Lando. I know he wanted it sooner, but to know that just be careful on that painted surface, because they have been using that through the practice. Just that will be less grippy. Just so you know, that's why Hamilton went off.
Wow. So the big choice, as always, when do you go?
Oscar Piastri decides when he takes us back to green flag racing conditions. He sets the pace and he leaves Lando Norris behind. As we go racing again, the green flag flies at Zandvoort circuit. Looks like a nice run for the Williams. Carlos Sainz there on the back of Liam Lawson as well. George Russell's looking to the inside. Not able to get past Isaac Hadjar.
Yeah, that was clever of Oscar. he was, you know, you're trying to second guess when he's going to go. He can take it all the way through the final corner, but he came off, kind of went as if he was going middle track, and there's a problem.
Was a contact between Lawson and Sainz because they were fighting over the positions into the first turn, and they're dropping down. They had a great run. Sainz had a brilliant run on the banking, but that has cost them both a chance of points as they drop down the order. And look at Max Verstappen all over the back of Lando Norris.
Yeah, Russell as well, putting pressure on Hadjar just behind. I don't know if it was just more drizzle in that middle part of the lap, but Verstappen really got fired up in the high speed. It's difficult to do much.
Aduh, lebar banget lagi.
Seventh place.
Dia ngapain gitu?
For Sainz and Lawson.
It's cost them, and it was a great exit. And there will be inevitable contact at that first turn. They're now 18th and 19th, still circulating, but surely circulating back to the pits. 0.8 of a second between Norris and Piastri, with Verstappen on the medium tyres. They're quicker to fire up. They'll be more grippy as well at this stage. But if anything, Lando Norris has had a superb third sector to be 0.7 of a second away from Piastri as we go back racing. Light rain continuing to fall. Russell had early momentum on Hadjar and then has dropped back as well. And in the end, it's Alex Albon who's having a great run.
Control, DRS enable. Oh, udah hujan.
Yeah, looking at you've got, what is that? Dust on the track? Is that from that contact with Sainz? And
it must be. That must be where someone's run off the road, obviously, and just poured dust back on. It's flat out through there, so it shouldn't be affecting anyone.
Could be avoiding action as well, because I think they were I reckon it might be turn one that they've had the contact, and then I think they've had to dart round, which is why we've got dust on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think there might be double punctures for them, because they're basically racing each other slowly back to the pits, so that would indicate flat tyres.
They've just gone past our commentary position. Sainz and Lawson now need it to rain. Two drivers who, well, Sainz is looking to return to the points, and it's been a while for him. He was trying to get back there for the first time since the Canadian Grand Prix, and Lawson's been in great form coming into the summer break. But they were fighting over 7th place, and it's cost them. Onto the soft tyres he goes.
So it's the left rear, the tyre was off the rim, and it's a nose change for the Williams. So that's your first synopsis of what's happening.
Aduh, lama banget pit stopnya Sainz. Nah, ini nih.
See it from on board with Carlos
Sainz.
Slipstream
Kan bagus nih, oke. Dihalangin gitu. Terus
have the right line. Oh, just
ya udah, tayarnya
say on that situation, Carlos has got a clearer view of the car in front, and you've got to roll the dice as to how much risk you're going to take, and in this case it's cost the board.
Yeah, he's not done enough, has he, in the first part of the corner to stay
Liam Lawson juga
so
langsung aneh.
Oh my god, this guy is always the same guy.
This guy is always the same guy.
So Sainz not happy with Lawson. There wasn't much contact, but it was enough to ruin his point scoring chances
gitu
for the moment. And that's
Liam Lawson juga habis bannya ternyata.
Looking for a third point scoring finish in a row.
Yeah, so he's trying to do the Norris move on Verstappen, but according to the rules, you've got to be right alongside the driver on the inside to command the outside line and then keep the space. So Lawson opened it up. It wasn't a huge contact, was it? But a big consequence for them both.
Yeah, someone's going to get a Pirelli tyre souvenir somewhere around the track, because we haven't actually seen where that ended up.
Yeah, have that in the living room. Great for someone. Okay, lap 30 of 72. It's 2 seconds between Piastri and Norris. Verstappen is 1.3 seconds away. And there was debris on the main straight again there. And that is Sainz up against Lawson. And that continues. And that continues at the first turn.
Well, they're a lap down and right at the back. But one for the mental state, I think, of Carlos Sainz to make a clean move there.
Yeah, they need a safety car or a red flag intervention to play any major part in the race, and shows you what fine margins that we have. So the new top 10, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Hadjar, who's trying to hang on to 4th position. George Russell has been putting pressure on throughout various stages of this race. And back to the never-ending weather update. It's looking much brighter outside the commentary box window now. That light rain passing through.
I'd say Hadjar has been super impressive. He's not let the
nomor 4 terus loh Isaac Hadjar dari tadi.
Starting 4th, get to his head.
Wah, nggak deh. Kok bisa?
Can't pass at turn 9, surely. He's getting close to it, Russell, and it was a little bit of a jink towards the middle of the road for Hadjar. Of course, Russell was
was
Keren
dominating
banget,
Charles
Rookie of
Leclerc
the
last
Year
time.
kayaknya
Leclerc
Isaac
got a
Hadjar nih.
penalty in the end in their fight for third in
Padahal dia
Budapest,
nggak
so I
ada
don't think Hadjar
kesempatan
will get a
buat
pen for that one. He's
main
tucked in
di
behind Max as well.
F1 sebelumnya
Antonelli
kayak
trying to get
Kimi
the move on
Antonelli kan
Alex Albon. That would be a late
ada.
lunge. Albon's going to hang it out left hand side
Yang
of the
Lawson
picture.
udah
Gonna
di
hang
Red
around the
Bull,
outside and
sempat di Red
maintain the
Bull.
position. Albon hangs on to 7th. Antonelli putting big pressure on though.
Well, with this action has enabled Ocon to get himself into the points. Berman right
Berman
behind him, and Stroll,
gantiin Ferrari, apa gantiin Carlos
tricky
Sainz.
weekend so far, is right in there.
Isaac Hadjar
Although
ini
Berman didn't
salah
pit
satu yang
under safety car, so they've still got to make a stop. And
Preparationnya
Stroll
lumayan
pitted
dadak.
early, didn't he? So he's got a really long way to go too.
karena kan tiba-tiba nih
There's more,
di
carbon
De
fiber
Vries
came off the
ditendang
Williams,
dan
didn't it there?
Ricciardo tiba-tiba
Yeah, did
putus
indeed as
kontrak.
Sainz was making that move, but they are in 18th and 19th positions. The one retirement, Lewis
Isaac Hadjar
Hamilton running wide.
virtual
Virtual
safety car.
with that debris on the main straight. We neutralise the race.
Yeah.
Everyone reduces their speed, and that allows, there you go. We zoom out and show you exactly where that is, and that will allow a marshal to venture onto the circuit safely and recover it. Race control, there you go.
I think this is going to have to wait a little bit because all the cars being there. So when the time they pick that up and the racing resumes, we're going to have Piastri in the middle sector. There won't be really, I think, any opportunity for anyone to gain an advantage there.
We would try and go to the end on this. Our decision will be if to add a stop, but the goal should be to get to the end.
Saying they're trying to go to the end.
Translate that. It seemed a slight contradiction, didn't it?
It was two messages in one, wasn't it? Our goal would be to try and go to the end and add another stop. What does that mean? So, for Lando,
What does that mean?
here we go. The retrieval, and we're going to be going again very soon.
Cheers. Listen to that. Richly deserved for all of ours. Look at all the grandstands that we've got there.
Wouldn't want to
Great
get
work.
stage fright, would you?
Yeah,
It's a big
versi
old crowd
ending.
there.
The virtual
Tetap
safety
aja
car is
jauh.
ending. It can be withdrawn at any time, and it will be the case. You've got to be alive to this. You've got to be looking for the message that you can go racing again. And there is the green flag. We're back underway at Zandvoort, and the gap between the top two is 2 seconds. Max Verstappen in third. Isaac Hadjar is right there, and we always get a battle on the resumption of a virtual safety car because it's reaction time. Charles Leclerc trying to go around the outside.
Ngawur
Dimasukin
ke parit. Gacor sekali kah.
Wow, that was all in.
Tapi dapat sih. Tapi dapat sih, Leclerc-nya dapat sih.
That is as old school a
Kacau,
move as you
kacau.
get. I cannot believe he stayed vaguely on the track.
And trying to come back is
Masih di comeback loh. Masih di comeback, nggak jadi guys. Nggak jadi guys.
That gap was always going to close, and the Ferrari
Masih ada
opportunistic
parabola
move
lagi habis
by
ini.
Russell will be raging.
I mean, Russell
Oke,
could
aman.
have been probably ruder on the braking zone there. Charles hadn't got completely alongside, but just muscled his way in halfway over the gravel. Full commitment.
Makin buram.
And what a move. Old school stuff. Held it there, and this is a battle for the Constructors' Championship between Ferrari and Mercedes. So, 5th place, first go having a crack at Hadjar in the next 39 laps as well, and Leclerc's made that place back.
I think that was absolutely brilliant, and that shows so
Keren,
much
keren.
commitment from Leclerc, because this is not somebody thinking, okay, I'm going to get the best result I can this afternoon. This is someone who's fighting for every point.
I love it when Leclerc does those sort of things. We've seen it a few times. I remember Silverstone, he had a massive brawl with Verstappen a few years ago.
So at the restart already, George got caught out on a wide line, so that gave Leclerc a little bit of pushing George onto the dirt.
He's got so much work to do though, from this far back. No way around the outside, holds it.
Yeah, then he doesn't let the space. He cannot complain.
He can.
And he will. Oh wow! Look, he's technically passed the
Gitu loh.
track.
Ya
He was
Allah,
on the gravel.
dibuang gitu.
Surely.
Well, if there's one wheel on, well, let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Enggak,
Is the
enggak.
rear wheel
Enggak
still over the
sepenuhnya
white line?
di
I think he might
luar
technically
soalnya.
be off the track.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we say technically.
Tapi enggak lah, itu separuh coy.
Well, it's good fun.
Enggak seutuhnya di luar track itu.
Ferrari judge him to have passed off the roads, and he was threatening to do that one lap before. A driver who's been low on confidence in the last couple of races now finds himself behind his teammate Kimi Antonelli with a late lunge and 7th place. He's got form around here. He's got the largest trophy from here a couple of times, having left on race day. And sometimes certain drivers around certain circuits is just working in a way it wasn't before the summer break. Antonelli, 19 years of age and looking like the driver we expected to see when he was signed for Mercedes.
Yeah,
Antonelli juga bagus, tapi karena dia di Mercedes jadi nggak.
So I think Mercedes
kurang
team will be satisfied,
dia
and it feels like he played himself into the race, and then the natural race has taken over.
Jelek tapi jago.
So there'll be a big call there, causing a collision earlier.
Yellow
a
flag,
10-second penalty for Carlos Sainz. We have a yellow flag being waved out on the circuit.
I think the Sainz one's pretty harsh actually to get a 10-second penalty for it. I mean, Lawson did open up the steering, and I'm not saying it's Lawson's fault. I think they were a bit unlucky there, but to get a penalty on top of it doesn't really matter because they're a lap down. But it's adding insult to injury for Carlos. The Ferrari one there for Leclerc, that's a tougher call.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they're giving a penalty to Carlos, then you've got to imagine it's a slam dunk on Leclerc. Where both his wheels on the other side of the white line, from what I saw, yes.
Yeah, and he's coming in from behind, isn't he? As flamboyant as the overtake was, it's great to see the aggression, but he's coming in from a fair way back. He's off the road, and he does have the contact with George. So, great to see. I don't know if that's going to pass the legality check.
The collision has been noted by race control. It's the collision that's been noted, not leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So that's how they've listed it for the moment. Might get more information.
Penalti coy.
Hasn't not decided to move over and let the Merc through.
No, with the field spread, it's unlikely there'll be opportunities. Our best bet is just go get a straight out race.
So, DC, you asked me to decode the previous message, and I think it was either, there's two options, to go to the end of the hard tyre, or the other option was to get enough of a gap to make a second stop and not allow Oscar to do that. So you need to build 20 seconds to Verstappen in order to do that, and I think Will Joseph saying that it's not going to happen. We can't afford to lose track position, so we're going to have to try and go to the end, and you're going to do this one in a fair fight on track.
This is now under investigation for the causing a collision. And Piastri finds himself out front. Norris 1.6 seconds back. And I can tell you, he responded to that message. Personal best the last time around, as the marshals clear up more debris from the Zandvoort circuit. We'll see a comparison whether Piastri can respond across this lap. Piastri's on 1:14.5 to 1:14.8 for Lando Norris. They're trading blows out front as Norris tries to get the gap down to under a second.
Verstappen hajar
So anything really now for Lando is to try and put pressure on Oscar. It's really difficult to make an overtake. You have to think outside the box. We're seeing Hadjar still staying in fourth, keeping Leclerc at bay. So you have to keep going and try and get Oscar to use his tyres more to become vulnerable later.
Talking of tyres and vulnerability, we've got Max Verstappen on the medium tyre, trying something different, looking ahead. But now you've got Isaac Hadjar on a hard tyre, having to push to try and stay ahead of Charles Leclerc. And incredibly, in his rookie season, Isaac Hadjar is 0.8 of a second away from Max Verstappen. P4 yesterday, he's chasing his first podium today. And Jolie has just given me exactly the same look as he did when I mentioned that about Hulkenberg halfway through the British Grand Prix.
Hulkenberg was further down and had a lot more to do to get a podium. Hadjar has got through his pit stop. He's staring at the back of third place. Hulkenberg made it, so I'm not going to diss you anymore. Could happen again.
Yeah, look, this is a really, really strong weekend, to state the obvious for Hadjar. But we're now getting into the latter stages of a Grand Prix. You know, you capture the confidence building up. This is when you can start making bad choices.
Balance on the hard tyre. I don't know. You put me always in traffic. I don't know.
Yeah, he's running a dirty air, so he's not happy with that. His ability to actually tell
gimana balance-nya hard tire? Aku nggak tahu. Kamu selalu menotakkanku di heavy traffic.
Valid point.
It's a valid point. Alonso frustrated. He got a bad start as well. Lost a couple of positions at the start of the Grand Prix before we even got to the intervention of the safety car. And it was looking so good for Alonso and Aston Martin. In practice, this is a circuit that, like Budapest, where he was a really strong fifth there, they expected to suit them. They are not expecting next week's Grand Prix circuit Monza to suit the car.
Got all these people. I don't know, do something.
Kan? Ayo kita undercut orang-orang ini katanya.
Well, that would be a way to find clear air, make another pit stop and fall to the back. So Fernando did the same thing as Charles Leclerc, but more extreme. Pitted early and didn't benefit from the safety car, so he's lost out a little bit more. Didn't get a good start anyway from 10th. And this could go down as a real missed opportunity for Aston Martin, who looked so quick throughout 3 hours of practice.
Tapi Stroll nomor 9, bagus ya Stroll. Berarti Aston Martin itu sebenarnya bisa top 10 terus-terusan, cuman dia mulu dari waktu itu.
Further back in the pack, the Hasses haven't stopped. And staying ahead of Yuki Tsunoda for the moment is Oliver Behrman, who started from the pit lane. And they've just left it out there. Terrible position to start the Grand Prix. Took track position. And you have to be about 1 second faster around here to pass the car in front.
Just wondering whether Hadjar, as he just nudges around just over a second away from Verstappen, whether there'll be any radio chatter to have him as a rear gunner for Max, or whether he'll be allowed to go
Hadjar
for
dari
it.
1,5 sama Verstappen.
Well, they have to operate as two separate teams, don't they? They can't operate as a squad of 4 to take on Ferrari and Mercedes. I know there's a blurred line often between that, between the sort of Red Bull A team and the B team. Hadjar's also looking for a first podium. Would the podium, a home podium, mean more for Max, or a first podium for Isaac? I would say it's still going to mean a lot more for Hadjar than it is for Verstappen, who's won here a few times already.
Some great stories up and down the order. A reminder for you, Stroll, Ocon and Behrman will all have to visit the pits. They need a trip to the pit lane before the end of the Grand Prix. We have Charles Leclerc under investigation for that move up against George Russell. Thrilling move at turn 11. We have Hadjar chasing a first ever podium. And we have Lando Norris 1.1 seconds away. He's been pumping in the personal bests lap after lap, and he's nearly at the magical DRS window.
Yeah, he's giving it all right now to try and get the pressure on Oscar. It is the only thing he can do now. He can't sit back and wait because Oscar is so good at managing the tyres when he gets half a chance as well. So this has to be an attacking drive from Norris.
Aman sih, ini masih pawai biasa sih, belum ada
to give himself an opportunity too. I mean, you raise a good point, DC, about Hadjar. Is he going to be rear gunner for Max? Maybe. Because is he going to fire in a lunge against Verstappen here? You have to be so aggressive to overtake. And effectively Red Bull is his employer, so...
Do we think, though, he's in the car thinking, calculating all those things, or do we think he's in the car just chasing the opportunity?
And surely he'd get a free pass on this one. If he did go for a podium, surely anyone could see, come on, he's driven the wheels off this thing to have a chance of a podium.
Yes,
we would let him off one.
Tell, it's been a while since you spoke to Helmut Marko.
So, George, with this damage on the car, I think best opportunity for the team is invert cars at turn 1.
Sorry?
We'll be able to keep up with Leclerc here, so...
Well, yeah,
Tim order Russell Antonelli tuker, nah tuh kan.
Well, Russell was surprised by it, but he's listened to the team order. And Kimi Antonelli is in 6th position. What a day for the two rookies. Hadjar in 4th, Antonelli now in 6th place, but George Russell couldn't believe what he was hearing on the radio.
Norris 1,1 ya.
The little flicks from the floor, they actually come off just into that last corner there, but yeah, that wasn't one they'd sort of discussed before the race, given the offset on where they qualified, but he has agreed, and it'll be interesting to see whether he just glues himself to Antonelli's gearbox or not.
Well, the fact that he's agreed obviously says that the damage is costing him lap time, because I think if he had more to offer, he would have not done this and got out of the way of his teammate. So it obviously is now hurting George's race, and Antonelli now becomes the man lining up behind Leclerc, who's still under investigation for it.
Not sure I would have moved over there. That would have cost them a little bit more time. And obvious place for me would have been wait to the start finish and just lift off gently. You cost you less lap time.
1.5 seconds behind already, so Mercedes prioritising Antonelli, who is... So he was saying at the last Grand Prix, didn't get the result at the last Grand Prix, but he said the going back to the old suspension gave him a better feel behind the wheel, and he was far more confident, even though he didn't get the points in Budapest. And he's much happier. Didn't get the major points in
gini
Budapest,
doang ini.
10th in the Grand Prix.
Lihat McLaren doang ini
He's
mah.
had success in Formula 2.
McLaren juga tiba-tiba menjauh 1,4 ya.
Has made Antonelli a lot happier, especially around here. Driver who started in 11th place
Aneh
is
ya,
now in
balapan apa sih?
possible penalty, holding over the driver in front of him.
Kali kita nonton MotoGP aja. Tapi MotoGP juga Marquez lagi.
There you go then.
Investigation after race.
Come on.
They're not that busy up there on the stewards office. Surely they could
lama
have a little
coy.
look through the
After
replays.
race coy.
Never good to have anything decided after the checker flag is dropped.
You've just got to make a decision, haven't you?
Nah,
This
iya,
is
kenapa
now
nggak
hanging
langsung
over Leclerc. It could have ramifications later on. He'd rather, if he's going to get a penalty,
investigasi
take
gitu
it
loh.
now.
Gampang kok.
And then you can serve it if there's a late safety car or something that could shuffle him right back. It's just no need for that. The drivers will obviously say,
komentatornya bilang gitu.
He pushed me off.
Kenapa nggak langsung diinvestigasi aja sih gitu?
Look at the rule book and make a decision.
Orang sesimpel itu loh.
Summoned to the stewards after the race. They'll take a team representative with them as well, and they'll argue their case after the Grand Prix. But as you say, Jolin, that hangs over Charles Leclerc, currently running in 5th position.
We've got to get out of that. It was the same for Verstappen and Hamilton in Budapest. The last race, Lewis going off at turn 4, Max throwing in a nose, and it was decided after the race, and it was no penalty in the end. And it's the penalty or not penalty is not really the point, but we need a decision in the race, surely.
Well, Julian Palmer for FIA president is what I'm
saying. Nggak ada apa-apa.
We need to know, like in any sports event, of course not always possible, but where it is and they've got the time, just let us know.
It is.
Well, Norris got to the brink of DRS, didn't he? He got to 1.1, and he knows what happened to the tyres earlier on. He took a lot out to close down the gap. Had the chance of something different with the strategy that was such a big talking point in the last Grand Prix. That was taken away by the timing of the safety car after Lewis Hamilton hit the barriers. At turn 3 is the only retirement at the moment. Sainz and Lawson made contact. Sainz was penalised for it. Both drivers seeing their chance of points fade away. Antonelli is 3 seconds away from Charles Leclerc. He's got to argue his case to the stewards later on. Hadjar staying within that 1.82 second window to Max Verstappen. Trying to carry those medium tyres a very long way. And the medium tyres good until about 35 laps according to Pirelli in their pre-race information earlier on.
Yang ini mah aman aja sih Hamilton itu.
Piastri's doing enough. Just take one little lock-up in the middle sector there to allow Lando to get into that DRS zone, but right now just keeping it over that second.
So 2 DRS zones around here. If you get in there, it's 3.5 lap time advantage because you're getting the dirty air as well. It's high downforce, so each zone gives you a nice little chunk of speed, because obviously the more downforce you're running, the more the DRS effect is good. And Monza next week will be the opposite of that. Everyone's already trimmed out on downforce anyway, so actually getting the DRS, it's a long straight, but you don't get a bigger percentage gain. That's what Norris is getting so close to now. And there's the first DRS point just after this left-hander, but he's still too far back.
That's a great angle. You can see the driver information top right showing his lap delta, telling him he's +1 tenth slower than his best lap. So you feel the lap time even if you're not seeing it on your screen. But he'll know here at this point, he knows he's a couple of tenths down. And that's what they're playing with. That gap is just staying there steady at 1.2.
Round the bank final corner, visor cam with the race leader and World Championship leader. Trying to win another Grand Prix today and trying to tie his mentor, Mark Webber, would be his 9th career win to draw him level with Mark Webber if Piastri can hang on.
Sounded like a bit of lifting coast for Oscar into turn 1, where you just lift off, wait for a second and then press the brakes. Helps to save the tyres, helps to save a bit of fuel as well. But we've had safety cars, so fuel will be absolutely no issue. It's more about protecting this hard tyre that they've got to do an awful lot of laps on. 49 laps they'll have to go on that hard to get to the end, so it's still marginal. That's why Oscar's having to be cautious in the big braking zones, in the high energy, the high speed. I think it's also why Hadjar was nearly passed by Russell in the middle sector, because he's backing off a little bit where you're putting most energy in.
Look at the last 4 laps between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. It's ebbing and flowing. It's one lock-up. It's one wide moment. Piastri and Norris in a league of their own this weekend. They've left the rest of the field behind. Norris is trying to force the error, trying to do and get the opportunity to do what he did last year and go from second first to win the race. Rewind 1 year.
Itu momen yang ditunggu-tunggu itu.
Winning by 22 seconds here. Piastri wasn't on the podium.
Mewah ya, bukan brand mobil balap.
Ya, memang. Tapi mobil mewahnya itu bukan sembarang mobil mewah. Mobil mewahnya itu V6, V8, gitu-gitu, V10.
Oh, you're joking.
Dia kan bikin truk-truk juga kan, kayak punyanya AS yang mobil presiden AS. Nah itu kan musuhnya gede banget kan. Ya udah, mereka sah-sah saja sih menurutku buat masuk F1. Memang jago bikin mesin ya. Terus di
iPhone mesinnya step.
Nah itu dia. Terus yang di apa namanya, dia juga jago di balap ketahanan.
Sometimes you've got to have a little bit of guidance.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is a panel as well. So it's the driver steward is often the one that we've heard of. They've raced in Formula One, but there are a few of them coming to these conclusions. And I just think the way that, as I said at the time, Carlos wasn't alongside, but that sort of exonerates Lawson from getting the penalty. But it certainly doesn't then mean he should get a penalty when it was sort of Liam Lawson that came across more on him. It just seems like a racing incident.
Maybe it's a little bit like parking attendants. You've got to give out a certain amount of tickets before you're allowed to go home. Give out a certain amount of penalties to feel that you've done a bit of stewarding.
Well, the gap is hovering around DRS. Both McLarens and everyone in the field, to be fair. Most Grand Prix have a period of the race where you have to look after the rubber to extend things and make sure that you make the strategy work. Go back to a happy strategist at the end of the Grand Prix, maximise your opportunity. It has been, Pirelli, a lot of effort to try and turn this into a 2-stop, bringing the softer compounds, and the degradation was thought to be higher around here than it was in Budapest when a 1-stop strategy won the Grand Prix with Lando Norris. So although that gap is ebbing and flowing and Norris is flirting with around a second, are McLaren in a management phase that may come alive at the end of the Grand Prix. Norris just staying there for the moment. 2.4 seconds Hadjar is behind Max Verstappen. Contrast between those two drivers. Hadjar looking for his first podium in Formula 1. Hadjar was the runner-up in the Formula 2 Championship last year. Max Verstappen looking
lebar semua kecuali Norris. Norrisnya semangat banget mengejar Piastri.
Record, 4-time world champion and always on the podium at his home race since he returned to the calendar in 2021. The thing's fairly static at the head of the field. We're going back through the order to an unhappy Fernando Alonso, who was not pleased with where he found himself on the track earlier on. He's got 8-lap-old hard tyres on the car, and he's rejoined the back of the queue.
Yeah, because he got his wish and had a second pit stop. So he's back in dirty air, though, isn't he? He's just got fresher tyres to try and make some progress.
Make sure we go visit the stewards after a race. I want to have a talk with them.
Yeah, it's going to be a short conversation. They'll just shrug their shoulders and say, there's the evidence, and that's what the rule book says. I don't really expect it will make them do something different next time. Alonso putting the pressure on the back of Hülkenberg, who, I would say Hülkenberg probably is very keen to get past Bortoleto, given that he seems to have found his form, especially in qualifying in the last few Grand Prix.
Yeah, Bortoletto's been on a fantastic run up against Hülkenberg, including the last 5 consecutive Grand Prix. He's been the lead Sauber on the grid, so a great run of forms. Hulkenberg slightly wide. Our racing line graphic showing you that one. And Alonso still can't force the pass. Back of the queue at the moment, 17th position. He's going to try the inside line at the bank corner. Not enough grip at the moment.
Nice try, bro. Nice try banget, bro. Mas Alonso enggak, Om Alonso hampir nyalip Hulkenberg, tapi nggak jadi. Ininya kurang, gripnya kurang.
It's a nice little addition that would be good to see. It could be inserted in many.
Deket banget sih, 0,4 loh. DRS lagi bisa itu.
Yeah, it is a wonderful feature of this race.
Nih. Tengok. Clever. Smooth banget, let's go.
So he's able to move up to 16th place, and that's great to ride on board with a two-time champion who checks.
Dapat lagi lah. DRS selanjutnya bisa itu.
As an example for George Russell and Charles Leclerc, but of course slightly different in that.
Tapi kok gak jadi hujan ya pertanyaannya? Kan gak asik tuh. Lewat doang gerimisnya. Kecewa.
Nice move from Fernando. And he's got to get creative because everyone's in this DRS train here. It goes all the way up to the Haas cars who haven't pitted, 10th and 11th. So Berman acting as a perfect rear corner for Ocon, clinging to a point. They're going to have to make a pit stop.
Belum pit stop ternyata.
A safety car again to establish that.
Kacau coy.
This is the shot from the helicopter. We were visor cam when you saw Alonso nearly run into the back of Hulkenberg and then able to get by. Hulkenberg, who's been on those hard tyres for 31 laps, and Alonso with the fresher set to the tune of 21, and able to move ahead as Kimi Antonelli comes in. Gives up that track position and takes on the soft tyres for the final stint of the Grand Prix.
Okay, interesting call for Antonelli.
Serius.
Russell goes past, Albon goes past. These two are a lap down.
Antonelli pit stop soft.
So he's just lost 2 positions.
20 lap, bro.
And he can go aggressive now.
Masa soft?
This is a bit to try and get some progress on Leclerc again from 5th place. Will Ferrari cover him off? I don't think so. I think they'll probably try and go to the end now. And Antonelli's already passed Albon. Russell jumped out of the way, so they think they can do it again.
Yeah, you should say nothing to lose because of the gap behind, and this further adds to experience. He's worked his way back up into
bisa balik top 10 lagi, tapi bannya habis nanti. 20 lap di soft. Leclerc juga ikut. Astagfirullah.
Which is going to drop Leclerc into traffic, and that he's going to have a harder time clearing Alex Albon, but George Russell's not going to jump out of the way for this guy.
It's a measure of Antonelli's race, his best since his podium finish in Canada in terms of race pace. Left-hand side of your screen is Antonelli in your main picture. The pit stop for Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. They're also taking on the soft tyres for the end of the Grand Prix.
So let's throw it forward. What does Hadjar do now? Does Hadjar now have to pit? And all this domino effect change things for that podium fight.
It's a slow exit of the pit lane, but the Ferrari team and Charles Leclerc cover off Antonelli. Antonelli's working range. Oh, he hits him! Kimi Antonelli into the side of Charles Leclerc. The Mercedes and the Ferrari make contact, and both Ferraris having drama at turn 3. The safety car is out again at Zandvoort. Antonelli knew he had one opportunity to take the place.
Antonelli penalti dong harusnya.
Into the barriers, and Ferrari again see another car exit the Grand Prix at turn 3 as both McLarens are in.
No.
Neutralises the race once again, and that's an example of what we were talking about with Alonso not having enough of his car behind, because inevitably you go down, you're going to come up, and well, look, Antonelli's been having a great race, but that was a little bit lacking experience, I think, in that moment.
Yeah, that's the problem. The banking is just shallow at the bottom and steep at the top. So when you fire it in, you try and get side by side at the bottom, but you're always going to then rush up to the top, where Leclerc's carrying a much higher minimum speed, and it was then just a tag of the rear of the Ferrari. Nice chance for these guys to take a second stop. Hadjar's going to lose a chance to do anything different to Verstappen on strategy, but he'll cover off those guys that were going to make Racing Bull's life a little bit harder there.
Well, Charles Leclerc out of the car, out of the race.
Ya, Ferrari DNF semua guys. Prediksiku salah semua. Ya, mungkin Ferrari 56 itu ternyata. Alex Albon nomor 6 malahan. Dan kerennya si Antonelli berjalan 3 roda sampai pit stop lagi ke soft lagi. Ke soft lagi coy.
As we affectionately call it, was on fire when he came back into the pits because once his contact's made, so we understand what he's doing. He drops it onto that low line, locks up understeers.
Astaga.
Gotta say, that was an inevitable scenario.
Coba kalian lihat highlightnya besok ya.
I think that was unnecessary. I mean, we can never know what happened, but honestly, the tires so good. Anyway,
Aneh coy.
I'm getting up.
Aneh
So
coy.
he's talking about the stop. He's not talking about the contact.
Kenapa bang?
So there's one thing absolutely clear. Charles is on the normal, natural line. It may look completely weird for anyone who's just tuning in. He's out wide, but that is the race line.
Manuver apa?
And it's Kimi that's deviated from that, and then effectively, it's a soft T-bone.
Yeah, the problem is
Coy.
when Leclerc's already right around the outside, you've then got to drive off the track onto the collision at that point, hasn't he? Or cede place way earlier, but Kimi never established himself really down the inside far enough. So it's enticing.
Aslinya bisa dilanjut, cuman kan tergantung kondisi mobil. Dan kondisi mobil hidungnya lepas juga gitu. Sayap depannya lepas semua.
Ya Allah, uangnya keluar.
Iya.
Uangnya keluar. One of the cars, full safety car out as well. So even though he's running in 7th place, you would expect a penalty for that contact. Out there at the moment.
Iya, online.
Clinging on to track position is Pierre Gasly. He's not taken the opportunity to stop.
Salahnya kan kayak banyak tugas ngono.
But that's why
sebenarnya ini lagi ngerjain tugas.
But getting him back out, so if he has got a penalty,
Cuman
streaming menonton
F1.
Enggak, coy. Ngerjain tugas beneran aku. Gak percaya
investigation. So what happens there now? Is another reason to come to the decision at the time, isn't it? And you know, for Leclerc, in theory, would just have to carry over to Monza, which is extreme. So
tetep lah.
It seems ridiculous. Let's call it what it is.
Kayak baca PPT ini.
Tapi enggak terlalu baca.
What I was going to say is out front, the two McLarens are here.
Kalau hamil satu kamu baca dulu berarti kan?
Iya, kira-kira. Jangan kan hamil satu sebelum maju aja tak baca lagi. Atau kadang baru baca pas sebelum maju.
You saw the advantage the soft had over the medium early on. It's now a soft against a hard. And it used hard for the two McLarens. So it's a very strange call for them to go onto that tyre for the final stint. It's not very
There isn't very far to go. That was the suggested two-stop strategy at the start of the Grand Prix. But the graphic on the left-hand side of your picture tells a story. Verstappen, Hadjar, Russell, Albon and Antonelli, who's still running in the points, but can expect a penalty for that moment with the field closing up as well. Gasly's running twice on track position. Fernando Alonso with that stop and is now released as others come in as well. Bortoleto, who was at one point running in 19th position, finds himself running in the points on 32 lap old hard tyres. This moment
diulang lagi loh, heran aku. Udah bang, menyedihkan banget bang itu bang.
Because the safety car was brought out so quickly, Antonelli's actually not lost out that much.
He's not out of the points, but when they all filtered through, 10 seconds added to his time with plenty of cars directly behind him later on, and the pack is not fully formed up yet as well. So we're into the final stages of the Dutch Grand Prix. A long time yet to find out.
Oh
my god, man. I could not see him at all.
I could not see him at all.
It's okay.
Keren.
Okay. Some nice dramatic quotes there for the edit.
So as we expected, it's a 10-second penalty for Kimi Antonelli, and he'll have Gasly, Alonso, Bortoleto, and Behrman in a queue directly behind him. No realistic chance of building that gap up in the remaining stages.
Inilah 10-second time penalty untuk Antonelli di situ.
Alpine just chancing their arm now.
Kacau.
Itu lah buat second penalti ngapain?
Jadi misalnya kamu jarak ke belakangnya itu selisih 3 detik. Nah, gara-gara kamu kena penalti 10 detik, jadi posisimu kegeser ke bawah.
Oh, gitu.
Tergantung berapa jaraknya ke belakang gitu.
Tapi itu gara-gara anak tadi kayak gitu.
Iya, kan dia yang bikin kecelakaan kan tadi kan, bikin crashnya kan. Pasti ada dendanya, entah denda duit atau denda di tempat. Maksudnya denda di tempat aja.
Uangnya keluar.
Gitu.
Ini balapan mahal ya.
Mahal banget soalnya. Satu kali balapan itu setara ini gaji DPR.
She's getting a power cut.
Serius?
Iya, tapi kan bedanya DPR kan, kalau F1 kan ini ya ngelakuin.
Iya, kelihatan kerjanya. Iya, kelihatan.
DPR.
Must just be having a hiccup as he's going mid-throttle there for Sonoda, so that's why the team's able to fix it.
Yang
Get used to it.
harus
He's going to get a little bit
dibubarkan.
more stamping on the right pedal.
Itu tolong.
It's never nice.
Tolong.
57 laps
Langsung
in
dijarah
DC.
gitu. Itu amat.
Makan tuh Iron Man.
Your preferred word for that because we're not
Iron Man-nya di looping lagi.
Iron Man.
David Coulthard, Alex Shakespeare
Langsung
building
ini,
up to the
langsung
final stages of
dimotivasi
the
Iron
Dutch
Man
Grand
aja.
Prix. Side to serve
Tangannya
his view unfair penalty.
bisa-bisa.
That is the message from race control.
Tapi yang dapat jam tangan Royal Miller itu, wah gila ini.
Itu kan diincer kan, diincer Intel dong katanya. Katanya sih gitu ya, nggak tahu.
11 miliar tuh, gendeng.
Iya loh, itu kan official dari Ferrari itu. Beliau beli dari Ferrari F1. Serius?
Yeah, he was a bit closer to safety car coming into that chicane,
Iya.
but he's back
Langsung
in the wall. This
dijual aja
looks like he's
bahwa
going to wait a
pasar
bit
gelap.
longer.
Iya.
Just a little bit longer, so this is going to give Lando a better
Ini aja
restart.
udah kan harganya 11 ya. Kalau jarah berarti kamu ambil 9 atau 8 masih bisa kali.
Lando Norris got the response that he needed,
10 gitu.
and they're fighting further back with the top three in the same positions. Look at the launch off the corner. Max Verstappen gets on that soft rubber, but it is still third position for the driver that we're riding on board with at the moment. He's got more grip, and he's putting the pressure on the McLarens ahead.
Denger gak ya ngomong gini?
Norris did enough staying with Piastri up front there, so he had a good slipstream as well to defend from Max. The soft tyre has his biggest advantage right now, and then the McLarens will get there hard.
Di sini tuh ini anjir.
Should be able
Tanda
to hold
seru.
station.
Oh,
Knows he needs to try and make the progress now. You can just see the traction that he's
Nah,
got.
takutnya tiba-tiba ngomong kayak gini.
Areas in the we've just seen how difficult it is to pass really at turn 3.
Sing sana lagi bahas bisnis
Getting
kan.
into the more fuel
Sini
scenarios,
bahas
of course,
F1.
late in the race,
Gila.
so maybe even that soft tyre will play a bigger advantage for Max, but it just looks like he can't quite stay on the back of Norris.
Alonso trying to go around the outside of Gasly. Gasly on the old tyres. Alonso, left-hand side of your picture, trying to go by. Big pressure put on as well.
Yeah,
Bortoleto
gitu
lost
lah.
a couple of positions on the restart lap. Behrman is now
Makanya
in
kan pada
10th
ngeluting
position
kan
out
kemarin.
front. 1.2 seconds as McLaren get the restart that
Betul,
they
makanya
wanted. And Piastri was
sekolah yang
able to
bener.
build a gap over Lando Norris. Norris able to
Biar
set the
nggak
thread.
jadi Saroni.
Verstappen on the soft tyres, and the major changes taking place in the lower reaches of the points. You got Behrman on new medium tyres all over the back of Fernando Alonso on the hards.
Again, tough for Behrman to do too much.
Albon
They'll
itu
know as well what's
banget
just
sih.
happened at turn 3. So you see the stricken Ferrari on the
Yalah,
outside.
kuliah bro,
And
welcome.
now we'll have to just
Selamat
follow
datang
through
di
the
dunia
middle sector. The best thing
perkuliahan.
he can hope for again is that Alonso starts fighting with Gasly probably ahead. He's just going to bunch this whole
Tidur
thing up.
opsional kata orang-orang. Aku sih tetap tidur ya.
It's usually a slam dunk
Tetap
penalty
tidur
when
di
we get
bawah
that
jam
message.
9 aku kalau
Great
bisa.
points on offer for these guys with Antonelli dropping down the order. He's
Kalau masih
already
mulai
got
jam
10
11, jam
seconds, and it may well
12
get
itu
worse
berarti
for him.
aku restock meme.
Here's an opportunity for Yuki Tsunoda trying to go past Gabriel Bortoleto. Tsunoda's on that soft tyre, and Yuki Tsunoda gets up to 12th position. Plenty of overtaking coming your way between now and the end of the Dutch Grand Prix. We've got so many drivers out of position with the timing of that second safety car period. It is 0.4 of a second for the lead of the Grand Prix. At the end of this race, is it going to be a 16-point advantage? If it finished this way, that's what it would be. Or will it be 2 between the top 2 in the world?
Yeah, that's exactly why, as Charles Leclerc doesn't
Di foto-foto sama fotografernya. Jelek banget.
But these guys definitely landed.
Wah, jadi meme itu, jadi meme, percaya nggak?
Put the pressure on.
Besok siang ada meme-nya
It's
pasti.
always that sort of fascinating when you're the leader. Somehow you feel that you can't afford to make a little mistake. When you're the chaser, in the case of Lando, he's got a clear view of Piastri. You can take more risk.
He's got a lot less to lose, hasn't he? Verstappen's dropping away in 3rd again, and it is McLaren 1 and 2, and they should finish this way unless there's drama in the last 12 laps. And Norris knows he's heading for 2nd place here. The gap's going to go out to 16 again, unless he can put some pressure on and make the difference in these final 12 laps. So he just has to give it all. Cut loose, give it everything. The hard tyres will be fine. Go and attack.
And for the 3rd Grand Prix in a row, it's a charge from one McLaren trying to take it away from the other. In Belgium, it was Norris trying to close in on Piastri. He was not able to do so. In Budapest, 0.6 of a second as Piastri closed in on Norris, but Norris hung on. And this time around, as we go into the latter stages, 1.4 seconds between the two of them. Nothing to choose between the pair. And we've got Alex Albon chasing George Russell. That Mercedes is carrying damage. Albon trying to score a 5th position for the Williams team. They were on the back foot in recent times. Albon furious yesterday that they didn't switch the tyres on the right way, and he lost an opportunity for a Q3 appearance and top 10 start. But he's had a great run through the field today from 15th to what is at the moment 6th position.
Kok bisa
5 seconds on Gasly.
Gak kesentuh sama sekali.
That 10-second penalty might be
Albon
negated.
di P6 itu.
Potentially expecting another 5 for speeding in the pit lane.
Ini tadi restartnya.
It might be at this rate.
Franco Colapinto with the late lunge into turn 10. More
Tapi nendang keluar, nendang khas keluar, jelek banget.
They're running in 13th and 14th, these two. And Hulkenberg was in the mix as well.
Yeah, didn't manage to do anything with it, but yeah, good to see he was seeking the opportunity, but wheel to wheel.
Albon kerasel deket banget.
These tires can pop off the rim pretty easily.
Antonelli speeding in pit lane.
Will need a 15-second gap. He has got that 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So how quickly Behrman can clear Pierre Gasly is massive for Kimi Antonelli, and we join that battle right now. You could see he was chasing him all the way through turn 2. We're through turn 3 at the moment, left-hand side of your picture.
This will be some defence if Gasly can hold on. It's not easy to overtake around this circuit, but on his tyres against these are much fresher.
Right, it's not Billy.
Coffee Max.
Uncomfortable, maybe?
I think that's probably the word they bleeped out. Yeah. Yes. So he's not happy with where, as the fuels come off, the car inevitably will run a little bit higher, and on that particular set of tyres, the ride could be porpoising.
Behrman P9, Stroll.
They've had him on the wrong tyres by design, just trying to do something different all day long. It would be a 5th home podium for Max Verstappen. Wonderful atmosphere at this racetrack since it returned to the calendar back in 2021. 10 to go. 1.6 seconds the advantage for Oscar Piastri. Now, big moment, left-hand side of your picture. This is going to be key for the points. Ollie Behrman's got the better grip. He's got the inside line, and he is going to have 8th position. Behrman returning to the points for the first time since the Bahrain Grand Prix in the Grand Prix format. He scored in a sprint back in Belgium. Behrman has been waiting for this type of drive. He's gone from the pit lane to P8.
It should become P7 because he will have the pace now to stay within 15 seconds of Antonelli out front. So time trial for Behrman now to the end of the race. Antonelli boxed in behind his teammate. Albon's having a great drive, isn't he, up in 6th? That battle still for 5th in the Constructors' Championship. twists and turns with every race, but Williams could dearly do with some good points here.
Yeah, there's been some brilliant examples of really exquisite driving from the rookies, effectively. Hadjar, Behrman, definitely top drawer stuff.
We're ticking through the laps at the end. Lance Stroll is the driver who finds himself in 10th position at the moment. He must have thought his chance of points had gone when he found the barriers at the corner that he's driving to. Turn 13, it's where he crashed in qualifying. And he's going to have a run on Gasly. Stroll on 10-lap old tyres finds himself ahead of Fernando Alonso and made that 10 positions gained in the Grand Prix for Stroll, who's now chasing down Oliver Behrman in the battle for 8th position. Could be better points. He's unable to eke out that gap. 1.2 between the top two in the World Championship, Piastri and Norris. Once again,
possibly a few very light drops in 3 laps time will be less than at the start of the race.
Stressful moments if
ada
you
hujan katanya habis ini 3 lap lagi, sekitar 3 lap lagi.
It wouldn't be much to change the outcome.
Tapi harusnya lebih sedikit daripada yang di start, katanya gitu.
That stands at 9 going into today's race.
Entahlah.
Norris was able to find a way by. It would go down to 2. Piastri trying to re-establish the gap. Left-hand side of your picture is Fernando Alonso trying to drop Gasly out of the points. Alpine rolled the dice on strategy. They were looking for something
masih Lance Stroll berusaha di situ. Alonso sekarang ke Gasly.
After a contact on a restart lap, something like that is what Alpine were looking for. Alonso unable to find his way by at the moment.
I got smoke coming from the cockpit, I think. I smell something funny.
Wanted to listen in. Smoke. There is smoke.
Huh? There is smoke.
And Lando.
Yeah, Lando out.
Problem.
Lando out. Lando Norris out. Sorry. Lando Norris out.
Lando Norris is returning
Isaac
for the
Hadjar,
Grand Prix. A
top
huge
3
moment in the World Championship. Oscar Piastri will score 25 points and Lando Norris is out. They all usually take a new engine for Monza, which is next week, and it's Piastri, Verstappen, and on for his first podium in Formula One is Isaac Hadjar. But that is a huge moment in the destiny of the World Championship in 2025. Norris is out of the Grand Prix on lap 65.
Oh, you got to feel for him. You've got to feel for just the cruelty of sport at times. You know, we were just watching 2 exceptional drivers trading lap times, and all of a sudden, the unthinkable in an era where reliability is. They expect 100% reliability.
Cars are so bulletproof normally. You don't think that's going to happen.
Lando tiba-tiba terbakar gitu coy, menyala
Heartbreak
mesinnya.
for Lando, championship in the balance, and suddenly that gap is going to balloon out.
Pusing semua
Joseph, race
mekaniknya.
engineer, head in hands as well. Gutted for half the McLaren garage, of course. Strange thing is, the other half, that's a huge moment for Piastri as well. This is going to be a big swing in the championship.
It is. The safety car is deployed. Verstappen on the soft tyre, Piastri on the hard tyre. Is that the pivotal moment with 9 Grand Prix to go?
DTS-nya bagus ini, Drive to Survive-nya bagus ini, banyak sinematik gak perlu.
So close between them, week in, week out. 34 points is the gap between the two of them as it stands in the final stages, and Lando Norris knows that he will have it all to do in the last 9 races. A heartbreaking moment for the British driver, and that picture tells a story. He is disconsolate, and you can understand why.
It's desperate. Feel so sorry for him. First championship. He's not going to be out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but his work has just got so much harder, and through no fault of his own. Can go your way, it can go against you.
Charles Leclerc listening in.
Yeah, someone's obviously handed him a mobile phone. I don't think he carried it in his pocket during the Grand Prix, but yeah, heartbreaking for the whole team, for Lando, for what has been an amazing, I think, trading of lap times.
He said he smelled smoke, and this was it.
Oil leak. I'm out. Failure.
Okay.
Damn.
I'm out.
Olinya bocor. Olinya bocor katanya. Oil leak.
Sorry, mate.
I'm out.
Mate, you were fast today. You were really fast.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I know. You were fast.
I know. Unlucky, boys. Unlucky.
It will not be a fifth 1-2 finish in a row
Yeah.
for McLaren.
Yeah.
Lando Norris
Tidak.
out of the Grand Prix, waving to the crowd, who are giving him warm applause, and he was rapid today. He got that gap down, didn't he? And he was pushing Piastri all the way to the end. But they do tend to change the engines before Monza, with it being a power circuit. Means that might have been a power unit at the end of its life cycle, and a failure that we've not become used to in recent times sees Lando Norris out of the Grand Prix. And we are into the final stages, still behind the safety car. We're not formed up behind, but it is worth saying we do still have enough laps to get this one restarted.
Yeah, we do, but sport can be amazing. It takes you on this roller coaster of emotion. I'm not sure today I was ready for that particular turn of events.
Well, you were talking earlier in the weekend, Jordan, about old school 90s engine failures where you'd see smoke out of the back and how rare they are in the modern age. But it can still happen. These are incredibly complex machines. And when it is zero-sum, when it's him or you, a moment like that, so painful and so costly.
Yeah, brutal. 9 races still to go in the championship for Lando, though, and now it's just got to be perfection from him, because Oscar is driving at a really high level, and that is the sorry sight of still a smouldering McLaren car cleared. So we turn back to the next story, which is Isaac Hadjar running third.
Incredible for Hadjar. This is his 15th Grand Prix start. And from Hadjar's point of view, he's like, oh, I think we've seen quite enough today. And I don't think we need to get this one restarted.
I think you're totally right.
Kayak dihitung dari
the quality performance.
kelas juniornya, junior kelasnya.
A mistake. He was prone to them in Formula 2, but what a great debut season, and this has been a fantastic journey to what looks like will be his first podium.
Well, he was parked up with a failure on Friday, and he said they were just thinking that Q3 would be a great result. Outperformed his expectations. He actually gave credit to his teammate. He said Lawson was pushing him all the way to try and find a lap like that. Good enough for 4th on the grid and a potential first podium. It's lap 68 of 72. We have the pack formed up behind the safety car. We have Piastri on 14-lap-old hard tyres. We have Max Verstappen set to return to the podium at his home Grand Prix.
Let's go.
Piastri has another safety car restart to deal with.
Hadjar
If he gets it
harus
right, he takes a 34-point lead in the Formula One World Championship.
So he's dealt with Lando Norris on a safety car restart.
Hadjar
He hasn't yet dealt with Max Verstappen. Light drizzle. Verstappen still on the soft tyres. They might fire up a bit quicker. There's a home Grand Prix on the line for Max as well, out of absolutely nothing.
And so it's over to Oscar Piastri with pressure on his shoulders, with a different rival this time. He weaves, and he will take us back to racing conditions, and he does so. Piastri takes it around the banking on the hard tyres. Watch Russell up against Hadjar as well. Verstappen trying to close in. Piastri looking at the mirrors. We go over the line, and Piastri knows that this is the crucial moment. Lap 69 of 72, and we're racing again. Piastri, Verstappen, and Hadjar, the top 3.
Piastri, Verstappen. Bisa kan Verstappen? Verstappen tadi udah sambat sih. Jadi harusnya nggak bisa. Tapi entahlah.
And winning one so far. Looks like Max struggling to get his softs switched on, actually, in comparison to the underlying pace of that McLaren on the hards.
Yeah, he's used the freshness of them already, so it's just whether they could fire up. The grip level's probably not going to be there as much as it when he had the first restart on them. Still right there with Piastri in the middle sector, so keeping the race leader right in his sights. I thought Hadjar might be more vulnerable as well. He got quite a lousy restart there, actually, but remember George Russell's driving a hobbled Mercedes behind him, so Hadjar stays third.
Well, Verstappen just heaping all the pressure on, trying to do everything he can. Remember, he was on the radio saying the ride was unpleasant. It was not what he wanted, but with a restart, you know Verstappen locks in and just brings all the pressure possible. He was second last year to a McLaren. It looks like that's going to be the same again. We have seen a change of position on the restart lap. It was Pierre Gasly dropping to 11th and Yuki Tsunoda climbing back to the points. How he needs that. Right. Big lap coming your way because DRS is now enabled.
Yeah, so Tsunoda's driving around a throttle map issue. Doesn't have any throttle for the first chunk, but he's still managed to get himself back into the points. So good effort from him.
Piastri.
Sorry, I was going to say you could just see a couple of little spots of rain there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to affect this. Can Verstappen stay within a second?
Light rain on the visor. Piastri trying to take a handy advantage in the World Championship battle. And the weather has not done what anyone expected today. And they're forecasting light rain. It's looking pretty dark outside of our commentary box window at the moment. For Piastri, 3 times he's been under the pressure of a restart, this time with Verstappen right there. And Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar will be ticking off the laps now. Verstappen will be so pleased to perform at home. Remember, he's been on this very uncharacteristic run with no podiums in the last 4 Grand Prix. But Verstappen looks set to put that right. We're on to the penultimate tour of the Dutch Grand Prix with Oscar Piastri in the lead, chasing down a 9th career victory, a 7th of the season. And Norris was right there all race long in the wheel tracks. Gasly has lost a couple of positions. Colapinto is now up to 12th place. Lawson in 13th. Gasly was told to do that. Lawson got by as well. He's been passed by Hulkenberg and Sainz further back in the pack, and Behrman has closed the gap down on Antonelli anyway. And they're of course on the restart. He's kept that within the 1.6 seconds that he needs, and Antonelli with those 15 seconds of penalties is going to tumble out of the points. Tough for him, but a much more encouraging pace overall. But this looks like it's going to be a decisive day for the World Championship. Norris will have to go on full attack for the final 9 Grand Prix. And the Orange Army have seen Verstappen mix it at the front, bold move on the opening lap, brought them to their feet, and he won't be too far away at the flag. But it's Oscar Piastri with a car in close proximity. It's not his teammate. His teammate is out of the race as Oscar Piastri goes on to the 72nd and final lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. And Isaac Hadjar and Racing Bulls. It would be incredible if he can convert it in a final.
Podium pertama, coy.
Because he'll be the youngest French driver
First podium buat Isaac Hadjar
in the history of the championship.
What a drive it's been from him as well. Started fourth,
banyak
and he's
first
just been staring at the
podium
back
di
of
season
Max the
ini.
entire race. He's not wilted.
Yeah, no, it's been a beautiful weekend actually.
First podium Kimi Antonelli, first podium.
So really impressive.
Max Verstappen only 1.1 seconds away, but this cannot be overstated. In what is a zero-sum battle, Oscar Piastri has the advantage with 9 Grand Prix to go. His points lead will be sizable, and he will celebrate in a few corners' time. He's on his way to tie the win tally of his mentor, Mark Webber. It's a decisive day in the championship battle. Oscar Piastri wins the Dutch Grand Prix to extend his lead in the Formula One World Championship. It's second place for Max Verstappen, another home podium. But what a sentence this is!
Isaac Hadjar, bro.
P3.
Isaac Hadjar, driver of the day.
On the formation lap, race 15. He is heading to the podium.
DNF 3 biji. Norris. Hamilton.
Trying to come to terms with the disappointment at our championship rival. Lando Norris has had that reliability issue, but it is what it is, and it may just unleash an attack, as you said, Julie, in those final 9 races. It may just bring out the world champion in him.
Well, he has to go on maximum attack. He has to take the fight in a way. There'll be no erring on the side of caution. Racing Bulls. P4 was a surprise. but he fully deserves that, Isaac Hadjar. They are in tears of joy down there for the Faenza-based team. And Alan Permain must be thinking, it's pretty easy, this team principal, Lark.
He's been around a long time in this sport, so yeah, he'll be enjoying that moment, unquestionably, but he's been around since the days where he didn't expect to finish 40% of the
Luar
races because of
biasa,
reliability.
Isaac Hadjar.
Well, it's played its part.
Siapa sangka coy,
Oscar
bisa dia di situ.
Is the race winner.
Good job, Oscar. Great job. And a fantastic performance all weekend. This was a relatively tough weekend for us last year, and that's been really strong. Really strong.
Woo! Nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. Yeah, good weekend in the end. Yeah, obviously sorry to Belanda, what happened.
Keren.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that really stands out in Oscar Piastri's performance from last year to this year. He's just improved in every area. He's improved in qualifying. He's improved when he's looked like he was lacking a little bit of pace relative to Lando. And yeah, you can't take it away from him. He's the real deal.
He merited the win, didn't he?
Tinggal podium-podiumnya. Kalau mau denger aja sih, ini kirinya aku biarin gini aja.
In the crucial time, qualifying, and he's so good at managing races when he gets to the front. And he's done it again.
All right, let's talk through some of the things I'm looking at on this timing page. Esteban Ocon's got a point. He climbed up 8 places. Yuki Tsunoda back in the points. That's strong passes for him late on his first points since Imola. Fernando Alonso, 8th position. Lance Stroll, 7th, up 12 places from where he started this Grand Prix. Oliver Behrman from the pit lane to P6.
Kacor, Oliver Behrman dari pit lane loh. Dari pit lane. Jadi pit lane itu bedanya sama posisi terakhir. Posisi 20 adalah selisihnya sekitar 5 detik sama posisi 20. Gitu, kalau nggak salah sih gitu ya, lupa aku. Ingatku gitu guys. Tuh, jadi ya sudah sesuai prediksi, Isaac Hadjar masuk podium.
The battle for 5th in the constructors is honestly a free-for-all points. Racing Bulls getting loads, Albon finishing 5th, double points for Aston Martin, double points for Haas. Sauber will be feeling pretty glum after that one, but everyone, I mean, so many drivers having a good day. No one better than Isaac Hadjar, though. A podium in Formula 1, incredible.
Well, the one thing you knew in Formula 2 and Formula 3, Hadjar, so much pace. But sometimes an error would creep in at a key moment. He was so quick last year, deserved his promotion, bounced back brilliantly, and he must not believe it. Found out at the Qatar last year that he was going to be promoted to Formula 1, lost out on the title to Gabriel Bortoleto, but in his wildest dreams, did he think he'd stand on a podium? He has no
Dia lu bingung, Isaac Hadjar lu bingung mau lari kemana.
What a drive, Isaac Hadjar. You are a podium finisher in Formula 1 in just his 15th Grand Prix.
Dia lu bingung saya mau lari kemana tadi.
Roller coaster of emotions that you get in Formula 1, the slow, long walk from the crash at the first corner, even before the race had started in Melbourne, to this absolute joy in getting his first podium. And this man here, he's just flawless at the moment, isn't he?
And he'll know that this is seismic for the championship as well. It is now fully in Oscar Piastri's grasp, a first title. It's subdued at McLaren because, understandably, you know, he wants to win on merit. He wants to win in an all-out fight with Lando. And today, Lando's lost a load of points with the car breaking down. Luck can go for you, it can go against you. It's not gone Lando's way today, and it's really harsh. But for Oscar, it's a big day.
Isaac Hadjar was so disappointed to lose out on the title last year in Formula 2. Had to be convinced to go to the trophy ceremony. He did the right thing. He applauded the driver who beat him to the title. He lifted his second place trophy and he used it as a motivation to take another trophy in a few minutes' time, after we've heard from the top 3 speaking to Guido
Max
van der Garde.
Verstappen, second today. I think that was probably the thing that you could do not more. It was not easy.
Yeah, wasn't easy.
Wasn't
Gave it everything
easy.
at the start, you know, to move forward.
Bro nggak ngapa-ngapain,
Little
cuman
moment in turn
sambat
two,
aja dan
but,
nunggu.
after that, we just had to do, you know, our
Nunggu.
own race. Unfortunately, we didn't have the pace of the
Norris,
McLarens.
DNF.
Yeah, we got a bit lucky, of course, with one
Jauh
retiring.
loh, jauh loh tadi
In general, you
mereka.
know, to be on the podium here is a great result. So to be in second, I think is a really,
Nggak
really good
ngapa-ngapain,
achievement
bro,
for
nggak
us.
ngapa-ngapain.
Tell me
di
about the
situ.
moment, because it looked quite a bit oversteer, no? In turn two, you tried also with Oscar doing outside on turn one, but then you went also outside of Lando in turn two, but you had a huge moment there, no?
Yeah, I tried to send it into turn three, but unfortunately there was too much sand in turn two from the middle of the track to the outside. I knew that we had the softer compound, so I tried to make it work on that first lap.
Last year you also finished second. All the years you've been on the podium right now, from all the moments in Zandvoort. Can you have also a word in Dutch to have all these fans here with orange?
Ja, natuurlijk het hele weekend is ongelooflijk weer geweest. Zoveel oranje en steun. En ja, het blijft gewoon altijd heel bijzonder om hier te rijden. En natuurlijk dan
Bahasa Belanda, bro.
om hier op het podium te staan.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Well.
Thank you.
Ah gitu, kok nggak anu orangnya nggak paham aku bahasanya ternyata bahasa Belanda. Let's go.
Isaac Hadja, your first ever Formula One podium here in Zandvoort.
Over the moon. Keren.
Yeah, it feels a bit unreal. You know, and what was most surprising to me is keeping that fourth place for the whole race. Unfortunately for Lando, you know, we took advantage of his puncture, and but yeah, we did no mistake. The car was on rails the whole weekend, and I'm really happy about myself because I really maximized what I had, made no mistakes, and brought home the podium. So yeah, I'm so happy for my guys.
Could you have ever dreamed this before, when you were a young kid, to stand here to have your first podium?
Yeah, that was always the target since I was a kid. So this is the first step, my first podium, and hopefully much more.
Many more to come. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment,
keren.
especially with the team.
Enjoy the moment, bro.
Oscar, you are a Heineken Dutch Grand Prix winner. How must that feel?
Yeah, it feels good, obviously. I feel like it's a pretty hard act to follow Isaac standing up here, so I'll try my best. But yeah, I controlled the race when I needed to, and you know, obviously it was incredibly unfortunate for Lando at the end, but yeah, felt like I was in control of that one and just used the pace when I needed to, and yeah, there was a bit of a different race to 12 months ago, so very happy with all the work we've done to try and improve around here, and very satisfied to come out on top.
Yeah, last year you struggled a little bit here. What did you change to have this success and the win here?
Nothing special, just trying to improve everywhere we can, and you know, the start of this weekend was looking like a difficult one, and managed to get it together in qualifying, and then yeah, I was happy with the pace I had today. So yeah, very happy. Obviously, a couple of safety cars that spiced it up a little bit, and we weathered it all. So I'm very proud of the whole team, and yeah, you know, wasn't just myself that improved to get here. It was with the whole team around me, and you know, without them, none of this is possible. So it's a big team effort.
I think it's a perfect start for the second part of the season, not?
Yep, starting out on top's a good way to go. So if we can keep it running, then that'd be great. But there's a long way to go yet, and keep doing it one race at a time.
You're looking forward to next week already, Monza?
Yes, I am.
Good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oscar Piastri, the winner.
Oscar Piastri, the winner of the Dutch Grand Prix by 1.2 seconds.
Keren.
As his rival's car unable to make the finish.
Gila.
He will be joined on the
Nice
podium
drive
by
banget.
Max Verstappen and Isaac Hadjar, who turns a great qualifying day
Hadjar.
into a superlative performance in the Grand Prix. He was running within Max Verstappen's wheel tracks, on merit, on pace. They were trying something different with Max's strategy, admittedly, but any rookie that can keep up there might have done his future a whole lot of good.
Keren.
That
Overall keren.
drive today.
Setelah Indonesia Raya, bukan setelah ini God Save the Queen. Udah, kita akhiri streamnya
Getting a
guys.
bottle of champagne by the looks of things. Oscar Piastri with a 7th win of the year. Measured drive, all the hard work done in qualifying yesterday. Got that start, and then under pressure in different ways. 3 safety car restarts.
Safety car 3 kali loh.
Huge moment for the World Championship. No getting
Albon
away
gak
from that.
kegeser dari awal. Ini apa? Tombol. Oh, gimmick tombol untuk
I wonder what that button was going to do. That was a surprise to us as well.
Untuk nyalain kembang api oren. Mereka tetap bereksploitasi Verstappen yang menang. Untungnya McLaren warna oranye ya.
Really think that in 2025 Nico Hülkenberg and Isaac Hadjar would stand on the podium, and a driver that I don't think many picked to be the champion would have a sizable points advantage after round 15. We'll take nothing for granted. It will be a fascinating end to the season. And this is the moment that Hadjar claimed P3. And I'll say this, for the Red Bull Junior driver program, would have been very easy to let him go after an uninspiring first season in Formula 2. He came back for his second, he pushed Bortoleto all the way to the title.
Tapi kalau dia di Red Bull bisa jadi sesuatu yang lain kan. Bisa jadi nggak perform malah kayak Yuki Tsunoda dan kawan-kawan. Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, Ricciardo perform sih. Yuki Tsunoda, Albon Gasly. Nah, itu kemungkinan gitu. Apa tadi? Vendor dan partner.
Well, right. See you later. Okay. Oh. No. Oh. No door. Yeah. Oh. So that's what happened.
I found it so efficient, like not to close the door in T1, to actually defend.
Alhamdulillah,
Multiple times I had George or Charles right here.
Alhamdulillah. Kenapa tuh? Kerja kelompok kah? Udah selesai.
Bangun aku dari kan ada tugas Pancasila. Tadi udah bahas tentang bisnis gitu kan. Terus aku lihat kan ada yang satu notis. Ini kan ada tugas Pancasila 2 jam lagi dikumpulkan. Jembut aku langsung. 2 jam lagi.
2 jam lagi.
Terus sosial budaya kan. Terus katanya kegiatan sosial nggak apa-apa. Donasi, aku mikir donasi. Iya, kalau ada link donasi nggak? Aku pikiran gitu, Cok. Langsung link donasi. Cok. Aku langsung pakai kita bisa, Cok. Terus aku kayak, terus aku langsung bayar. Set. Ambil dokumentasinya nih. Aku nulis ini reportase ya kayak. Aku melakukan ini karena dia ini dibantu AI. Gila. Sumpah, Cok, 2 jam lagi anjing. Gak sakal.
Iya, kak, di luar nalar coy.
Open Valorant.
Isaac Hadjar, come on down. He knows this feeling in Formula 3 and Formula 2. But this is Formula 1 and a trophy that will mean so much. P4 on the grid.
Piastri.
To P3 by the end of the Grand Prix. What a day for the Racing Bulls driver.
Max Verstappen.
The home favourite does it again. Always on the podium at his home race. When it comes comes to Formula One. But McLaren's Oscar Piastri knows this feeling. He is heading to the top step of the podium, and he will hear his national anthem.
Udah kok tak pindah DC dulu ya mas?
Oke. Suona.
Kayak gitu juga. Show.
Oscar Piastri has won a Dutch Grand Prix to remember. So many stories all over the timing page here. The largest trophy lifted by Piastri, a 9th career win for him. Max Verstappen with 5 home podiums thanks to 2nd place. Isaac Hadjar, his first ever podium finish. George Russell finishing 4th with a damaged car. Alex Albon climbing 10 places to find his way to 5th. Oliver Behrman's first Grand Prix points from the pit lane to 6th position. An amazing drive for him. His first Grand Prix points since Bahrain, back in the early stages of the season. McLaren celebrate win number 201 in Formula One. Lance Stroll must have thought his chances of points were done when he found the barriers in qualifying. He is 7th for Aston Martin, up 12 places. Alonso in 8th. Tsunoda, his first Grand Prix points since back in Imola. And Esteban Ocon, 8 places gained. 10th place would normally be the headline. But Piastri's won the Grand Prix. Verstappen is in 2nd, and Isaac Hadjar is a Formula One podium finisher. An inexplicable result, not this year in Formula One. He has been rapid all the way through, and he converted the chance today.
Oke guys, terima kasih telah menonton. Jangan lupa like, comment, subscribe untuk mengikuti update selanjutnya. Sampai jumpa di streaming selanjutnya guys. Dadah.
The opportunity arose for Isaac Hadjar. Max Verstappen delighting the home crowd again, and after a last gasp improvement in qualifying, it is pole to the win for Oscar Piastri. A win for him and McLaren. And when we get to Abu Dhabi at the end of the campaign, is this the day that we will call decisive? I want to thank the whole team, both on site at Zandvoort and also back at Biggin Hill in the UK. That